I stand in the doorway of my childhood home, suitcase handle cold against my palm. The familiar scent of my mother's lasagna fills the air, mingling with voices that rise and fall around the dining table. No one glances up. No one notices me watching. 5 people sit around the oak table my father refinished when I was 12. Mom leans toward Evan, her face pinched with worry as she rests her hand on his forearm. My oldest brother stares at his plate, shoulders hunched under the weight of his depression. Dr. Phillips thinks we should consider adjusting your medication again, Mom says. The side effects might be why you're having trouble getting out of bed. Dad nods, fork suspended halfway to his mouth. Whatever it takes, son. Here for you. Across from them, Lena flips her copper hair behind her shoulder. My therapist thinks I'm making real progress with the abandonment issues. She says recognizing the pattern is half the battle. Mom's eyes shine with immediate interest. That's wonderful, sweetheart. Tell us more about what she said. I shift slightly, the floorboard beneath me creaking. No heads turn. At the far end of the table, Miles hunches over his math worksheet, eraser shavings scattered around his plate. His dark hair falls into his eyes as he scribbles frantically. Mom reaches over every few minutes to point at something on the page. That's the wrong formula, honey. Remember what we practiced yesterday? Jacob sits beside him, thumbs tapping on his phone screen, lips pressed tight with anxiety. The blue light from his screen casts shadows across his pale face. I count the minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The family portrait hangs crooked on the wall behind them. In it, I stand slightly apart, smiling too brightly. I was 17 when it was taken, already planning my escape. My throat tightens. I clear it. Mom jerks her head up, hand flying to her chest. Oh, when did you get here? Dad barely glances from his plate. There's pasta on the stove if you're hungry. No questions about my new apartment across town. No curiosity about why I came by with a suitcase. No one asking about the promotion I mentioned during our last brief phone call. I place my house key on the counter. The metal connects with granite, making a sound like a tiny bell. Silence falls for 3 seconds. Mom, did you sign my permission slip? Miles asks, the moment passing without acknowledgement. The memories surface without warning. Me at 8, clutching a science fair trophy in an empty auditorium, the janitor offering congratulations because no one else was there. At 14, cooking dinner for everyone while Mom sat with Lena during her first withdrawal. At 18, working the night shift at the grocery store to pay for textbooks while my parents covered Evan's therapy and Jacob's private tutor. You're a rock, Lauren. The easy one. The one who never needs anything. Easy because I learned not to ask. Never needing because I knew the answer would always be, not now, your brother's sister needs me. Miles erases something furiously, paper tearing. Dad moves to his side, pointing at the problem. You need to isolate the variable first then. I'm moving to Seattle tomorrow, I say. The words fall from my lips like stones. Dad nods distractedly, still focused on Miles's homework. That's the approach. Good thinking. He hasn't heard me. I repeat myself, louder. Mom glances up, automatic smile in place. That's nice, dear. Who's going to help with Miles's homework while I'm taking Evan to his new psychiatrist? No questions about my plans. No curiosity about my job prospects or living situation. Just the immediate calculation of how my absence affects their needs. The realization crystallizes in my chest, sharp and cold and final. I am truly invisible. Have always been. Their eyes look through me unless they need something. I reach out slowly and take the key back from the counter. No one watches as I slip it into my pocket. I close the door behind me without slamming it. The sound is soft, deliberate, final. On the porch, I pause. A childish part of me waits for footsteps, for someone to follow to ask why. Silence from inside. The moving truck sits in the driveway, already packed with the few things I own. Monica and Jade wait in their car at the curb, the engine running. When they see me emerge, Their faces light up with genuine smiles. They wave enthusiastically, already making room for me. They see me. I take one step away from the house, then another. Each feels lighter than the last. Have you ever realized someone doesn't see you until they need something from you? My story continues with what happened after 2 years of complete silence from my family. Sunday morning sunlight streams through the bay window of our apartment, casting golden squares across the hardwood floor. The scent of fresh coffee mingles with Monica's cinnamon pancakes as Jade sets our rickety table, humming along to Fleetwood Mac on the record player. Our living room walls tell the story of the past 2 years shaking the Olympic Peninsula. Halloween costumes from last October, spontaneous road trips to Portland. My face appears in every photo, smiling without effort. Earth to Lauren. Monica waves a spatula at me, her curls wild from the kitchen steam. You're doing that thing again. What thing? I pour more coffee into my chipped mug from Pike Place Market. That quiet, smiling thing, like you're counting blessings in your head. I shrug, unable to deny it. Just this, all of it. Jade flops onto the couch beside me, shoulder bumping mine deliberately. 2 years of Sunday brunches. Pretty good streak we've got going. The three of us found each other through a roommate ad after I arrived in Seattle with nothing but a suitcase and determination. We're different in 1,000 ways. Monica teaches kindergarten with boundless energy. Jade codes video games with intense focus, but somehow it works. Did you tell them yet? Monica asks, sliding a stack of pancakes onto the communal plate. Tell us what? Jade perks up, reaching for the syrup. I got the promotion, I say, feeling my cheeks warm with the admission. Something about sharing good news still feels strange, like I'm taking up too much space. Senior data analyst, starts next month. They both whoop, Monica abandoning the stove to crush me in a hug while Jade runs to the refrigerator. We were saving this, Jade says, returning with a bottle of champagne. But screw mimosas. This calls for straight bubbles. At 10 in the morning? I laugh. Absolutely. Monica takes the bottle. You worked your ass off for this. We're celebrating. The cork pops, and Jade holds out mismatched flutes we found at a thrift store. As the glasses clink together, I breathe in the moment, messy, warm, perfect in its imperfection. So different from the sterile silence of my parents' house, where accomplishments vanish like smoke unless they belong to someone else. My phone buzzes against the coffee table. I ignore it, focusing on Monica's story about her latest classroom disaster involving glitter and a class hamster. It buzzes again, and again. Someone really wants to talk to you, Jade says, eyebrow raised. I reach for the phone, expecting work, freezing when I see the name. Dad. 22 months of silence, broken on a Sunday morning. The message glows against the screen. If you don't come home for Thanksgiving, don't expect anything more from us. Blood rushes to my ears. My hands turn cold, then start to shake. Lauren? Monica's voice sounds far away. What's wrong? I pass her the phone wordlessly. Jesus, she whispers, showing the message to Jade. After nearly 2 years of radio silence, my brain scrambles to make sense of the threat. Anything more from us? I haven't asked my family for a single thing since I was 17. Not money for college, not emotional support when I was laid off last winter, not even a birthday card when I turned 24 in June. I type a response, delete it, type again. Finally. I haven't relied on you financially or emotionally since I was 17. What exactly would I be missing? My finger hovers over send. It feels both true and cruel. You okay? Jade asks, her hand warm on my suddenly cold arm. I will be, I say, pressing send before I can reconsider. The phone erupts immediately with notifications. A wall of texts from Mom about family obligations and how I've always been the selfish one. A message from Jacob that simply reads, Miles needs his big sister, please. Then the extended family chimes and Aunt Celia, Uncle Rick, even my grandmother's sister whom I've met twice. All variations on a theme, the situation at home, and your responsibility to family. Not one asks how I am. Not one acknowledges the nearly 2 years of complete silence. What situation? Monica asks, reading over my shoulder. What are they talking about? I call Jacob, the only one who might give me a straight answer. He picks up on the first ring. Dad lost his job, he says without preamble, voice tight with anxiety. 6 months ago. They've burned through savings. Mom's hours got cut at the school. And no one thought to mention this until now? The words come out sharper than intended. You know how they are, Jacob says softly. Pride and all that. So they insulted me instead of asking for help? I run my fingers through my hair, tugging slightly at the roots. Classic. Miles misses you. His voice drops. We all do. Do you? The question hangs between us. Because it's been 22 months, Jacob. Not a single call from any of you until you needed something. His silence tells me everything. After we hang up, I sit surrounded by my chosen family, their concerned faces more present than my blood relatives have ever been. What are you going to do? Monica asks, her hand steady on my back. I look around our apartment, the string lights jade hung, when I couldn't sleep after nightmares, the bookshelf Monica and I built together, the wall of memories we've created. Then back at my phone, still lighting up with demands disguised as family obligation. Not play their game, I say finally. But Miles shouldn't suffer for their mistakes. That evening, I send a care package to my youngest brother gift cards for books, snacks, and clothes, with a letter explaining that while I won't be coming home, I'm still here for him. I draft a clear email to my parents about respect and relationships, explaining that financial assistance requires basic human consideration. I decline the Thanksgiving invitation without apology. The phone rings at midnight. Jacob again, but different this time, hesitant, uncomfortable. There's something else you should know, he says, each word careful. They named you as Miles' guardian. Years ago, in their will, if anything happens to them. My stomach drops through the floor. Without asking me? I thought you knew. Of course I didn't know. The room spins slightly. They made a life-altering decision about my future without even mentioning it. The next morning, I call their lawyer directly. He confirms it casually, as though this is perfectly normal. Then adds the final blow. Your mother mentioned you'd abandon the family. I'm glad to hear that's not the case. After the call, I sit at our bay window watching Seattle wake up, wondering when exactly I became the villain in my own family story. I sit cross-legged on my apartment floor, surrounded by bills, calendars, and a half-empty glass of wine. The setting sun casts long shadows across the hardwood, painting everything gold. 6 months of silence from my family weighs heavier than the wine bottle. My phone screen displays Dr. Winters' text. Proud of you for maintaining boundaries. See you Thursday. The calendar on my wall bears a red X through each day since I refused to come home. 183 marks of freedom. Or abandonment, the line blurs after midnight. I trace my finger over a photo of Miles tucked into my journal. He stands awkwardly beside his science project, smiling too wide. I sent a congratulatory gift card. Mom returned it unopened. Dr. Winters calls these moments evolutionary pain. Growing beyond the role assigned at birth hurts like hell, she says. Necessary agony. Your parents outsourced their responsibilities to you by age 10, she told me last session, her voice matter of fact. You weren't parented so much as recruited. The memory surfaces without permission. 12. Year-old me standing on a kitchen chair to reach the stove, making dinner while Mom sat with Lena during withdrawal. Dad's hand on my shoulder. You're our rock, Lauren, the easy one. Easy because I learned not to ask. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. The clock reads 3:14 a.m. Hello? Sleep clings to my voice. Is this Lauren Matheson? A woman's tone cuts through the darkness. Yes. I sit up, suddenly alert. This is Mercy General Hospital. Your father was brought in with cardiac arrest. The doctors have been working on him, but you should come quickly. The room tilts sideways. Is he? He's in critical condition. Your mother asked us to call you. Of course she did. The next hours blur. The desperate search for flights. The maxed credit card. The call to my boss. Monica appearing at my bedroom door with packed bags and coffee. I'm coming with you, she says, brooking no argument. The airplane seat feels too small. The drone of engines can't drown out the voices in my head. What if he dies before I get there? What if he dies after I arrive? What if he lives and nothing changes? The hospital smells exactly like childhood. Antiseptic masking human decay. I was 10 when Evan first attempted suicide. 14 when Lena overdosed. The corridors of Mercy General know my footsteps by heart. Mom stands by the nurse's station, her face collapsed into unfamiliar lines. Evan stares blankly at the wall, eyes unfocused. Lena paces, scratching at her inner armsa, telltale sign of craving. Jacob hunches over his phone, shoulders near his ears, scrolling without seeing. And Miles. My chest tightens at the sight of him. 14 now, clutching his backpack like a shield, eyes too wide, too dry. No one notices me until Monica's boot squeaks on the linoleum. Mom's head snaps up. Lauren. My name sounds strange in her mouth after so many months. She stumbles forward, crumpling against me. He's gone. The words don't register at first. Then they crash through me like a wrecking ball. Gone. I hold her awkwardly, this woman I barely recognize. Over her shoulder, I catch Miles watching us, his face terribly still. The doctor needs forms signed, Mom whispers against my shoulder. I just can't. The doctor appears, clipboard in hand. She doesn't ask who I am, just hands me the paperwork. You're listed as next of kin. Of course I am. The next week passes in a fog of duty. I arrange the funeral because Mom can't stop crying. I clean out Dad's closet because Evan stares at it for hours without moving. I cook because no one else remembers to eat. I help Miles with algebra homework while he tries not to cry. Dad usually helps me with the word problems, he says, eraser shavings scattered across the kitchen table. I know, buddy. I place my hand on his shoulder. I'm here now. The weight of those words settles over the house like dust. I find Mom's bills stacked in a drawer, many marked final notice. I organize payment plans with money I can't spare. I wash sheets soiled when Lena vomits after drinking too much at the reception. I hold Jacob through a panic attack at midnight. Monica watches from the guest room doorway, concern etched on her face. You're slipping back into old patterns, she warns. Just until things stabilize, I promise. The lawyer's office smells like leather and wood polish. Mr. Grayson, Dad's bowling partner for 20 years, clears his throat as we gather around the mahogany table. Robert left a detailed will, he begins, not meeting my eyes. Lauren, you're named executor of the estate. Mom nods as though this makes perfect sense. There's also the matter of Miles. Mr. Grayson slides a document toward me. Your father and mother named you as guardian, should anything happen to both of them. Mom is still here, I say carefully. Margaret has signed a voluntary transfer of guardianship, Mr. Grayson continues. Given her current state, she feels unable to provide adequate care. I turn to her, stunned. She stares at her hands. You always were the responsible one, she says, her first words to me in days. 5 pairs of eyes watch me, expectant, assuming. Of course I'll step up. Of course I'll sacrifice Seattle, my job, my life. Of course. The cemetery is quiet after everyone leaves. Wind rustles through maple trees, sending gold and burgundy leaves spiraling onto freshly turned earth. I stand before the simple headstone, my father's name carved in permanent letters. You never asked me, I say to the stone. Not once in my whole life did you ask what I wanted. Are you talking to Dad? I turn to find Miles standing several feet away. His hands are shoved deep in the pockets of his too big suit. Yeah, I wipe my eyes. Sometimes it helps. He kicks at the grass. They said you're leaving again. Come sit. I pat the bench beside me. He hesitates, then joins me, a careful distance between us. Everyone's fighting about what happens to me, he says, voice small. Mom says she can't handle me right now. Evan's too sick. Lena, and Jacob barely leaves his room. I take a deep breath. What do you want, Miles? He looks startled, as though no one has asked him this question before. Maybe no one has. I want things to go back to normal, he whispers. But they can't. No, I agree. They can't. Are you going to leave me too? The question hangs between us, fragile as breath in winter air. I turn to face him fully. Miles, I won't abandon you, but I won't sacrifice myself either. There's a difference between helping someone and becoming their life raft. His eyes, so like Dad's, search mine. What does that mean? It means we're going to find a solution that works for both of us, I say. One where you get what you need and I keep what I've built. For the first time since I arrived, Miles looks hopeful. Cautiously, he leans against my shoulder. Above us, a maple leaf breaks free, spinning golden through the autumn light. What would you choose? The life you built for yourself, or the family that only values you in crisis? Lauren's solution surprised everyone, especially her mother. I place the last document in the manila folder and close it with a snap. The family lawyer, Mr. Greenberg, flinches at the sound. Beside him, Miss Patel, the social worker assigned to Miles's case, watches me with curious eyes. Her pen hovers over her notepad. So as you can see, I say, tapping the folder, I've outlined a comprehensive alternative guardianship plan. The conference room smells of old coffee and anxiety. Outside the glass walls, secretaries move like fish in an aquarium, mouths opening and closing without sound reaching us. This is quite thorough, Mr. Greenberg says, glasses slipping down his nose as he pages through my proposal. But Lauren, your father's will clearly states. My father named me guardian without my knowledge or consent. I say, keeping my voice level. I'm offering a viable alternative that serves Miles's best interests while acknowledging my own limitations. My mother sits across from me, hands twisting a tissue into rope. You can't just abandon your brother, she whispers, voice cracking. After everything I'm not abandoning him. I push the financial statements toward her. I'm establishing a trust fund for his education. I'll maintain regular contact through video calls. And I've arranged for Cousin Sarah to become his legal guardian with my financial support. Mr. Greenberg's eyebrows rise. Sarah Matheson, your father's niece? She's a child development specialist with 2 kids of her own. Miles already adores her. She's agreed, pending your approval. The room goes quiet. From the corner, Jacob clears his throat. Lauren's right, he says, surprising me. We've always expected her to pick up our slack. When has anyone asked what she wants? Mother's face hardens. So that's it? You make a little folder and walk away from your responsibilities? What kind of daughter? The kind who was never seen, I say, the words slicing through the air. The kind who learned at 8 years old that her accomplishments didn't matter. The kind who cooked dinner while you sat with Lena during withdrawal, but no one sat with me when I had pneumonia. Miss Patel writes something in her notepad. Mr. Greenberg looks uncomfortable. My non-negotiable conditions are in Section 3, I continue, pointing to the tab. Miles receives therapy. The whole family attends monthly sessions if they want my continued financial support. And Miles gets his own cell phone so we can talk without interference. Mother's face flushes crimson. You're holding your own brother hostage for money? No, I'm requiring accountability for once. The door opens. Miles slips in, lanky and nervous in his 2 short jeans. You wanted to see me? He asks, eyes darting between us. Yes, Miles, I say, softer now. I wanted you to know the plan directly from me. I explain everything while he listens, face serious beyond his 14 years. When I finish, he nods slowly. So you'll still be my sister? Just not my sister? A laugh escapes me, sudden and real. Exactly. I'll be your sister who loves you enough to make sure you get what you actually need. He considers this. And I get to go to computer camp next summer like we talked about? It's in the trust stipulations. Cool. He turns to Mother. I'm okay with it. Lauren shouldn't have to give up her whole life just because Dad didn't ask her first. Mother's mouth hangs open. The tissue in her hands has disintegrated into white confetti. Mr. Greenberg closes his folder. Well, this is unorthodox, but legally sound. Miss Patel? The social worker nods. The plan prioritizes stability for Miles while maintaining family connections. I'll recommend approval. Mother stands abruptly, chair scraping the floor. This isn't over, Lauren. The family is already talking about how heartless you've become. She sweeps out, the door banging behind her. Jacob stays, hands fidgeting on the table. I'll talk to her. She just doesn't know how to let go. Neither did I until I had to, I say. 3 days later, I step off the plane in Seattle. The familiar rain taps a welcome on the terminal windows. Monica and Jade wait beyond security holding a glittery sign. Welcome home, Boundary Queen. Tears spring to my eyes as I fall into their arms. How'd it go, warrior? Monica asks, taking my carry-on. They hate me. They love me. They don't know what to do with me. Did your plan work? Jade asks as we walk toward the exit. The lawyer approved everything. Miles gets what he needs. I get to keep my life. That night, we open wine on our balcony. The Seattle skyline glitters like stars brought to earth. To healthy boundaries, Monica toasts. To chosen family, Jade adds. My phone buzzes. A text from Jacob. You inspired me. I'm looking at apartments next week. Can we talk sometime? For the first time since the funeral, I fall asleep without the weight of other people's expectations pressing on my chest. In my dreams, I stay hall, seen at last. The doorbell rings at 9:17 on Sunday morning. I freeze, spatula in hand, pancake batter dripping onto the counter. No one visits this early. No one visits unannounced. Monica peeks around her bedroom door, hair wrapped in a towel. Expecting someone? No. Something heavy settles in my stomach. Through the peephole, reality warps. My mother stands on my welcome mat, suitcase beside her, fiddling with her wedding ring. She looks smaller than I remember. Shoulders curved inward, hair more silver than copper now. When I open the door, winter air rushes in. Lauren. She attempts a smile. Surprise. Behind me, Jade emerges from her room, eyes widening as she spots my mother. She and Monica exchange glances loaded with silent communication. Mom. My voice remains steady. What are you doing in Seattle? She lifts her chin, fingers clutching her purse strap. I sold the house. I thought it was time to be close to family. The words hit like individual stones. Sold. The house. My childhood home gone without a single phone call. She glances at her suitcase. I was hoping I could stay with you until I find a place. I'm too old to be rattling around that big house all alone after all these years. Monica steps forward. I'll make some coffee. Mom peers past me, scanning the apartment, my peaceful space, my sanctuary. This is cozy? Temporary, I assume? I've lived here 3 years, Mom. Well, she sniffs. We'll find you something better once I'm settled. I don't invite her in. She takes a step forward anyway. Miles asks about you constantly. Her voice drops. Jacob barely visits since his promotion. Evan's medication isn't working again. Each name wielded like a weapon. I've been handling everything myself. How did you find my address? Her lips tighten. Jacob gave it to me. Someone in this family had to step up. Jade appears beside me, hand on my shoulder. I have those documents you needed for tomorrow's meeting, Lauren. On your desk. My mother's eyes narrow at the interruption, the mask slipping for an instant. I assume you have a spare room? She asks, ignoring Jade completely. No. The single word hangs between us. Don't be ridiculous. Of course you do. She points to our hall closet as if claiming territory. That can be cleared out. I won't need much space. Mom, I've already arranged to transfer Miles's guardianship papers. The lawyer said it would be simpler with both of us in the same state. My blood runs cold. What? Well, you can't expect me to manage him from here if something happens to me. And with Evan's condition, he can't possibly. You sold our house without telling me. My voice remains level. She waves dismissively. You left, Lauren. You abandoned your responsibilities. Something inside me shifts, a tectonic plate finally breaking free. I was 17 when I cooked dinner every night while you sat with Lena. The words rise from somewhere deep touched. I was 14 when I taught myself algebra because you were busy with Evan's therapist. She blinks rapidly. That's not. I had pneumonia for 8 days in 11th grade. I took myself to the doctor, picked up my own prescriptions. We were going through a difficult time. When wasn't it a difficult time? I won the state science competition. No one came. I have the photo, just me and the janitor who offered to take it. Her face pales. Lauren, this isn't appropriate with your roommates here. I was invisible until you needed something from me. The neighbors across the hall open their door a crack, witnessing the quiet demolition of pretense. That's simply not true, but uncertainty creeps into her voice. I step back into my apartment. Wait here. I retrieve the box from my closet. 3 minutes later, I return, placing it at her feet. My hospital discharge papers, signed by me, not you. My college tuition receipts all paid by me. My birthday cards, I pull one out, opening it. To our daughter on her special day. No name, just daughter. Not even a proper signature, just mom and dad. She stares at the evidence, hand pressed to her mouth. Every school award, every achievement, every time I needed someone, I tap the box. Documented proof of my invisibility. Her shoulders collapse first, then her expression. Tears spill down her lined face. I never meant. For once, words fail her. I know. And somehow, I do know. She never meant to erase me. She simply never saw me at all. I'm sorry, Lauren. The words sound foreign in her mouth, unpracticed. I forgive you, I say, surprising myself with the truth of it. But forgiveness doesn't mean access. She looks up sharply. If you want a relationship with me, we start from scratch. Real conversations, reciprocal care, professional family therapy. I point to the suitcase. But you're not moving in. You're not taking over. I have boundaries now. What am I supposed to do? Her voice small, lost. Whatever adults do when their plans fall through. Figure it out. She wipes her eyes, nodding slowly. For the first time, she truly sees me standing in my own doorway, no longer the convenient daughter but a woman who cannot be diminished. May I call you? When I find a place? You may. She picks up her suitcase. I don't offer to help. As she walks toward the elevator, your visible weight lift from my shoulders. When I close the door, Monica and Jade are waiting, silent witnesses to my transformation. You okay? Jade asks. I exhale. I think I finally am. I balance 3 plates along my arm, a skill from waitressing days that never fades. Laughter spills from my living room, where 15 people celebrate my birthday. The aroma of garlic bread and homemade lasagna fills my apartment. Mom's recipe, cooked my way. Through the kitchen doorway, I spot Miles showing Jacob's boyfriend how to play that strategy card game he's obsessed with. At 14, almost 15 now, he towers over the coffee table, shoulders straight, confidence blooming since he started living with cousin Sarah. His weekend visits to Seattle have become our sacred tradition. Jacob catches my eye across the room and raises his glass in silent toast. The anxiety that once shadowed his face has softened. We exchange genuine smiles, a small miracle after everything. Mom sits somewhat awkwardly on the edge of my sofa, clutching her water glass too tightly. But she's here. Actually here. Listening to Monica's stories about our office pranks, without interrupting or redirecting the conversation to herself. The effort shows in the fine lines around her eyes, in how she consciously relaxes her grip when she notices me watching. Need help? Miles appears at my elbow, taking 2 plates without waiting for an answer. Thanks, kiddo. I bump his shoulder with mine, marveling at how I now have to look up to meet his eyes. The party flows around me as I move through my space. My space. The wall behind my dining table holds 3 framed certificates: family therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, grief counseling. Not hidden, not displayed prominently either. Just part of my story. Above my desk hangs Dad's fishing photo, the one where he's laughing. That rare, uninhibited joy caught by someone's camera. I couldn't look at it for months after the funeral. Now, it reminds me that people are complex, that loving someone doesn't require forgetting the harm they caused. After cake and presents, people drift into conversation clusters. Mom appears beside me at the sink, dish towel in hand. I'll dry, she says, reaching for the rinsed plate in my hand. We work in companionable silence for several minutes. The party hums behind us. Lauren. She pauses, focusing intensely on drying a water glass. This home you've made, it's beautiful. Water runs over my hands. I turn off the tap. The family therapist says I should say things directly now. She continues, voice steady but quiet. So I'll say it. I'm sorry we didn't see you. For years, we just didn't see you. The words land between us, simple and devastating in their truth. I needed you to see me, I say, not just use me. She nods, eyes bright with unshed tears. I'm trying to see you now. I know. I hand her another plate. Not forgiveness exactly, but acknowledgement. A bridge built on truth instead of obligation. Later, Miles and I stand on my small balcony. The Seattle skyline glitters against darkening blue. Through the glass door behind us, Chosen and Blood family mingle over coffee and leftover cake. Jacob's laugh rises above the hum of conversation. Mom helps Jade collect empty cups. Sarah says I can spend part of summer break here if it's okay with you, Miles says, leaning against the railing. More than okay, I reply. The trust fund for his college sits in an account he'll access at 18, free from manipulation or control. My volunteer work with young adults from homes like ours gives purpose to my pain. The boundaries I've established remain firm, but they now enclose a heart that's learning to be both protected and open. You know what I figured out? Miles asks, voice deepening into the man he's becoming. What's that? Family isn't who you're born to. He looks at me, Dad's eyes in his young face. Who sees you when you're standing right in front of them? I smile, watching twilight settle over my chosen city. He sees me,